I sing to use the waiting, my bonnet but to tie, and shut the door unto my house. No more to do have I, till his best step approaching, we journey to the day, and tell each other how we sung to keep the dark away. When the astronomer stops seeking for his Pleiades face, when the lone British lady forsakes the Arctic race, when to his covenant needle the sailor doubting turns, it will be amply early to ask what treason means. Apology for her be rendered by the bee herself without a parliament. Apology for me. When one has given up one's life, the parting with the rest feels easy, as when day lets go entirely the west. The peaks that lingered last remain in her regret as scarcely as the iodine upon the cataract. Banish air from air, divide light if you dare. They'll meet, while cubes in a drop or pellets of shape fit. Films cannot annul, odors return whole. Forest flame, and with a blonde push over your impotence, foot's steam. To own the art within the soul to entertain, with silence as a company, and festival maintain, is an unfurnished circumstance. Possession is to one as an estate perpetual or a reduceless mine. There is a finished feeling experienced at graves, a leisure of the future, a wilderness of sighs. By death's bold exhibition, preciser what we are, and the eternal function enabled to infer. Uncertain lease develops luster on time, uncertain grasp, appreciation of some. The shorter fate is oftener the chiefest, because inheritors upon a tenure prize. This chasm, sweet upon my life, I mention it to you, when sunrise through a fissure drop, the day must follow too. If we demur, its gaping sides disclose as 'twere a tomb. Ourself am lying straight within the favourite of doom. When it has just contained a life, then, darling, it will close, and yet so bolder every day, so turbulent it grows. I'm tempted half to stitch it up with a remaining breath. I should not miss in yielding, though to him it will be death, and so I bear it big about my burial, before a life quite ready to depart can harass me no more. I doubt if it be us, assists the staggering mind in an extremer anguish, until it footing find. An unreality is lent, a merciful mirage, that makes the living possible, while it suspends the lives. 860. Absence disembodies, so does death, hiding individuals from the earth. Superstition helps, as well as love. Tenderness decreases as we prove. Split the lark, and you'll find the music, bulb after bulb, in silver rolled, scantily dealt to the summer morning, saved for your ear when lutes be old. Loose the flood, you shall find it patent, gush after gush, reserved for you, scarlet experiment. Skeptic Thomas, now do you doubt that your bird was true? Light is sufficient to itself if others want to see. It can be had on window panes some hours in the day, but not for compensation. It holds as large a glow to squirrel in the Himalaya, precisely as you know. That distance was between us. That is not of mile or main. The will it is that situates. Equator never can. The robin for the crumb returns no syllable, but long records the lady's name in silver chronicle. He outstripped time with but a bout. He outstripped stars and sun, and then, unjaded, challenged God in presence of the throne. And he in mighty list unto this present run, the larger glory for the less, a just sufficient ring. Fame is the tint that scholars leave upon their setting names, the iris not of Occident that disappears as comes. Escaping backward to perceive the sea upon our place, escaping forward to confront his glittering embrace, retreating up a billow's height, retreating blinded down, our undermining feet to meet, instructs to the divine. They ask but our delight, the darlings of the soil, and grant us all their countenance for a penurious smile. Because the bee may blameless hum, for thee a bee do I become, list even unto me. Because the flowers unafraid may lift a look on thine, a maid alway a flower would be. Nor robins need not hide, when thou upon their cypress intrude, so wings bestow on me, or petals, or a dower of buzz that be to ride, or flower of furs, I that way worship thee. (870) Finding is the first act, the second loss, third expedition for the golden fleece, fourth no discovery, fifth no crew, finally no golden fleece. Jason, Sham 2. The sun and moon must make their haste, the stars express around, for in the zones of paradise the Lord alone is burned. His eye it is the east and west, the north and south, when he do concentrate his countenance like glowworms, flee away. O poor and far, O hindered eye, that hunted for the day, the Lord a candle entertains entirely for thee. As the starved maelstrom laps the navies, as the vulture teased forces the broods in lonely valleys, as the tiger eased by but a crumb of blood, fast scarlet, till he meet a man, dainty adorned with veins and tissues, and partakes his tongue. Cooled by the morsel for a moment, grows a fiercer thing, till he esteem his dates and coca a nutrition mean. I, of a finer famine, deem my supper dry, for but a berry of Domingo and a torrid eye. Ribbons of the year, multitude brocade, worn to nature's party once, then, as flung aside as a faded bead or a wrinkled pearl, who shall charge the vanity of the Maker's girl. They won't frown always. Some sweet day, when I forget to tease, they'll recollect how cold I looked and how I just said please. Then they will hasten to the door to call the little girl who cannot thank them for the ice that filled the lisping full. I stepped from plank to plank, a slow and cautious way. The stars about my head I felt, about my feet the sea. I knew not but the next would be my final inch. This gave me that precarious gait some call experience. It was a grave, yet it bore no stone. Enclosed 'twas not of rail, a consciousness its acre, and it held a human soul. Entombed by whom, for what offence, if home or foreign born, had I the curiosity, 'twere not appeased of men. Till resurrection, I must guess, denied the small desire, arose upon its ridge to sow or take away a briar. Each scar I'll keep for him, instead I'll say of Jem, in his long absence worn, a costlier one. But every tear I bore, were he to count them over, his own would fall so more, I'll miss some them. The sun is gay or stark, according to our deed. If merry, he's merrier; if eager for the dead, or an expended day, he helped to make too bright. His mighty pleasure suits us not, it magnifies our freight. Each second is the last, perhaps, recalls the man, just measuring unconsciousness, the sea and spar between. To fail within a chance, how terrible a thing, than perish from the chance's list before the perishing. 880. The bird must sing to earn the crumb, what merit have the tune, no breakfast if it guarantee. The rose content may bloom to gain renown of lady's drawer, but if the lady come but once a century, the rose superfluous become. I've none to tell me to but thee, so when thou failest, nobody. It was a little tie, it just held two, nor those it held, since somewhere thy sweet face has spilled beyond my boundary. If things were opposite, and me it were, that ebbed from thee, on some unanswering shore, wouldst thou seek so? Just say, that I the answer may peruse unto the lips it eddied through, so overtaking thee. A shade upon the mind there passes, as when on noon a cloud the mighty sun encloses, remembering that some there be too numb to notice, O God, why give if thou must take away the loved? The poets light but lamps themselves go out, the wicks they stimulate, if vital light, and here, as do the suns, each age a lens, disseminating their circumference. And everywhere of silver, with ropes of sand, to keep it from effacing the track called land. Our little kinsman, after rain, in plenty may be seen, a pink and pulpy multitude, the tepid ground upon. A needless life it seemed to me, until a little bird, as to a hospitality, advanced and breakfasted. As I of he, so God of me, I pondered, may have judged, and left the little angle worm with modesties enlarged. These tested our horizon, then disappeared as birds before achieving a latitude. Our retrospection of them a fixed delight, but our anticipation a dice, a doubt. We outgrow love like other things and put it in the drawer, till an antique fashion shows, like costumes grandsires wore. When I have seen the sun emerge from his amazing house and leave a day at every door, a deed in every place, without the incident of fame or accident of noise, the earth has seemed to me a drum pursued of little boys. Crisis is a hare toward which the forces creep, past which forces retrograde, if it come in sleep. To suspend the breath is the most we can. Ignorant is it life or death, nicely balancing. Let an instant push, or an atom press, or a circle hesitate in circumference. It may jolt the hand that adjusts the hair, that secures eternity from presenting here. 890. From us she wandered now a year, her tarrying unknown, if wilderness prevent her feet, or that ethereal zone. No eye hath seen and lived, we ignorant must be, we only know what time of year we took the mystery. To my quick ear the leaves conferred, the bushes, they were bells. I could not find a privacy from nature's sentinels. In cave, if I presumed to hide, the walls begun to tell. Creation seemed a mighty crack to make me visible. Who occupies this house? A stranger I must judge, since no one knows his circumstance. 'Tis well the name and age are writ upon the door, where I should fear to pause, where not so much as honest dog approach encourages. It seems a curious town, some houses very old, some newly raised this afternoon. Were I compelled to build, it should not be among inhabitants so still, but where the birds assemble and boys were possible. Before myself was born, 'twas settled, so they say, a territory for the ghosts and squirrels formerly, until a pioneer, as settlers often do, liking the quiet of the place, attracted more unto, and from a settlement a capital has grown, distinguished for the gravity of every citizen. The owner of this house, a stranger he must be, eternity's acquaintances are mostly so to me. Drab habitation of whom? Tabernacle or tomb, or dome of worm, or porch of gnome, or some elf's catacomb. Of consciousness, her awful mate, the soul cannot be rid, as easy the secreting her behind the eyes of God. The deepest hid is sighted first, and scant to him the crowd, what triple lenses burn upon the escapade from God. A cloud withdrew from the sky, superior glory be, but that cloud and its auxiliaries are forever lost to me. Had I but further scanned, had I secured the glow in a hermetic memory, it had availed me now, never to pass the angel with a glance and a bow, till I am firm in heaven, is my intention now. Of silken speech and specious shoe, a traitor is the bee, his service to the newest grace, present continually, his suit a chance, his troth a term. protracted as the breeze, continual ban propoundeth he, continual divorce. How fortunate the grave, all prizes to obtain, successful certain, if at last, first suitor not in vain. How happy I was if I could forget to remember how sad I am, would be an easy adversity, but the recollecting of bloom keeps making November difficult, till I, who was almost bold, lose my way like a little child and perish of the cold. Herein a blossom lies, a sepulchre between. Cross it and overcome the bee. Remain, 'tis but a rind. What did they do since I saw them? Were they industrious? So many questions to put them. Have I the eagerness? That could I snatch their faces, that could their lips reply. Not till the last was answered should they start for the sky. Not if their party were waiting, not if to talk with me were to them now homesickness after eternity, not if the just suspect me and offer a reward where I restore my booty to that bold person, God.